Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and another video. So today we are just going to be doing end of year book tag video. I have done this tag last year and I think I did it the year before. I've done it a couple of times, but basically there is a list of 22 questions that we just need to answer, and it's all just about wrapping up our reading year. I'm just gonna get straight into this. The original video was done by Destiny, so I will tag all of that stuff down below. I will also have the questions listed down below. We really start off the questions with the most disappointing read of the year. So my most disappointing read for 2024 is The House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas. This is the third book in the Crescent City series. I don't know if it's supposed to be the final book or not. I feel like there's still a lot unanswered and there's 4 houses in this world, but we haven't touched on the 4th house. This was my most disappointing read because, well, I feel like if you read it, you would understand. I just feel like with the Crescent City series, every single book has just gotten worse. But this one, we have a crossover between this series and another series. I won't say it for spoilers' sake. That was my favorite part of the book, but it was a little bit lacking. I think it could have been better done. I think there could have been more of it. And then the ending literally just felt like the ending to the ACOTAR series, the Throne of Glass series. Like, it was literally the same ending, just written, and it didn't feel high stakes. It just felt like I'd read this before and I didn't really like it. I think it could have been better written. There are theories out there that apparently she scrapped the original book and then wrote this in a shorter time frame. But yeah, this was definitely my most disappointing read of 2024. I went into this expecting to love it and I ended up rating it 4.5 stars, but honestly, it's more like 3.5 stars. Okay, now that we've gotten that out of the way, that's just quite a book to start the year with. I mean, this tag with. Underdog Book of the Year. That's just, what would I class as the Underdog Book of the Year? So my Underdog Book of the Year, I don't really know what to pick for this, but I'm just gonna go with The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. This was a book that I had on my shelf for ages. I just never had the chance to pick it up. And to be honest, I wasn't expecting great things. I just had a feeling that I had like overhyped it in my head, but I ended up really loving it. I rated it 5 stars, actually made me go and pick up all of this author's books. Really enjoyed it. I even have the special editions of these books. This was definitely one that surprised me by how much I enjoyed it and loved it. But we do just focus on Stella and Michael. Stella has Asperger's, not great with relationships, so she hires Michael basically just to help her with her relationships and sex and all of that stuff. And I just thought it was a really beautiful, fun read and I had a great time with it. Question 3 is a book that was overhyped. What was an overhyped? Did I read an overhyped book? Honestly, I don't have anything for this question. I don't think there are any overhyped books that I've read this year. I mean, I think the only really big hyped up book I read this year was When the Moon Hatched, and I just rated it 4 stars, but I still think it was a really good book and it makes sense for the hype that it has. So I'm not gonna pick anything for this prompt. Everything I rated low, I haven't really heard any good things about. I wouldn't say that they were really hyped books. Number 4, favorite book couple of the year. Where are you? Where are you? I'm going with Daphne and Miles from Funny Story by Emily Henry. This is my current favorite Emily Henry novel. I just really could relate to Daphne. I thought she was great. I thought Miles was great too. For anyone that doesn't know, this is Emily Henry's most recent novel that she brought out this year, and we focus on Daphne and Miles. Daphne's actually engaged to this guy, Peter. Miles is dating Petra. So Daphne is engaged to Peter, and Peter and Petra are best friends. Peter goes on like his Bucks weekend and basically comes back and ends his engagement to Daphne because Petra's confessed her love for him and they decide that they want to date. That puts Daphne and Miles in this really kind of awkward position where Miles needs help with someone paying the rent. Daphne needs somewhere to live because she upped her life and moved to this town to be with Peter. So they actually move in together, decide to start fake dating to get back at Peter and Petra, and the way that their relationship blossoms was really sweet. I loved how the friendship built and then the relationship fell into place. I thought it was beautiful and I really loved both Miles and Daphne. Alrighty, and then question 5, favorite main character of the year. I'm going with Charlie from Business Casual. I thought Charlie was a great male main character. He's my favorite one, obviously, from this world. I just thought Charlie was great. The way that he loves his sister and how he's like willing to kind of put, I wouldn't say job on the line, but he basically uproots his life a little bit to come to the small town so that her and Luca, he can send them away on this beautiful honeymoon, and he takes over looking after Love Light Farms. And he's just a really sweet, genuine, caring character. And I just love him. I thought he was great. His little relationship with Nova is adorable and I loved him. Question 6, a book that surprised you. So a book that surprised me was Lizzie Blake's Best Mistake by Maisie Eddings. I had read the first novel by her, A Brush with Love. It was about a 3.5, 4-star read. I thought it was an okay book, but I wasn't excited enough about it to race out and pick up the other novels that she's written. And so I kind of hesitantly picked this one up, and my God, I loved it. I rated it 4.5 stars. I thought it was a fantastic read. I absolutely loved Lizzie and Ray. They end up having like a couple of one-night stands, and she actually falls pregnant. So it's just about them sort of dealing with it, how they're going to go about raising their child, because he's from Australia, she lives in America, and it's sort of about kind of like them sort of developing a relationship as well. And I wasn't expecting to enjoy this book half as much as I did. I thought the found family was gorgeous. I loved Lizzie, I loved Rake, and I was really pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed this book. It made me want to pick up more of Maisie Eddings' books. Yeah, it was just an unexpected delight. Question 7, new favorite author you discovered in 2023. So I guess my kind of like new favorite author that I discovered this year was Benjamin Stevenson. I listened to all 3 of his books via audiobook, but his books are out in paperback, so I picked them up. So it was Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, and then Everyone on This Train is a Suspect. He's also just brought out the 3rd book kind of in this series, which is Everyone This Christmas Has a Secret, which I did read in November. I love these books. The audiobooks are fantastic. That's how I kind of recommend reading them. I haven't actually read the physical books. I just saw them at the bookstore and had to buy them. These books are fantastic. They focus on our main character, Ernest Cunningham. In this book, basically, he just tells you how everyone in his family has killed someone. Like, some of it's metaphorical, but most of it is literal. And then this is just a sequel to it, because obviously he publishes this book and then he kind of goes on like an author trip on the Garn, one of the longest train rides in Australia, and then authors start dying on this trip. So there's some murders going on. I thought it was fantastic. I really love the way that it's written and the way that it's narrated. The narrator is amazing, so I highly recommend listening to the audiobooks. I haven't picked up any of his other books, but they are sort of on my radar. I'm just waiting to see if like they come out into bookstores. Absolutely adored these novels and these audiobooks. They were amazing. And then happiest read of the year. What does that mean? Happiest read of the year? Like a book that made me happy? We're gonna actually go with Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score. This is probably a bit of a rogue one, but this was a book that I was really hesitant to pick up just because I read the first book, Things We Left Behind, and I didn't really love it. And as a result, I was really hesitant to pick this one up just because people said it wasn't as good as the first one, and I preferred it to the first one. I was just really happy that I read it and I liked it and that I enjoyed it and that it was actually easy to get through, which was the exact opposite to what I found the first book in this series to be. So that's why I'm going with The Happiest, because I picked it up and I actually made me finish reading the entire series, so it's no longer sitting on my shelf, which is a win. Okay, most frustrating book I read in 2023. Where is it? Where is it? You guys probably know which book I'm gonna say. It's This Girl by Colleen Hoover. I read this in November. I rated it 1.5 stars. This is the 3rd and final book in the Slam trilogy by Colleen Hoover. The first book is slammed, and this book is literally just slammed from Will's point of view, who is the male lead character. And it was completely and utterly pointless, and I hated it, and it makes me so mad, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. Number 10, best adaptation of the year. I mean, this is so weird because I don't know what it's referring to exactly, but I'm going to take creative liberty with this question. I'm going with If the Shoe Fits by Julie Murphy. I know that adaptation kind of implies that it's meant to be book to movie, but it doesn't explicitly state that. As such, I'm going to disregard that. I'm going with this because I feel it's an adaptation of Cinderella. of like the Disney classic Cinderella movie. So we've taken it from that way and made it into a book. So like I said, creative liberty with this one. But basically Disney started this thing where they are getting female authors to basically take the classic Disney stories and turn them into a modern day novel. This one obviously focuses on Cinderella. Our main character, Cindy, ends up going on a Bachelor style show because her stepmother is like the producer for it, creator, etc. And she basically becomes an overnight sensation because she's a plus size model. And it was really beautiful and well done. The way that they weaved in the classic Cinderella elements was perfect and I loved it. I rated it 5 stars. It was also the first book that I read this year. Cannot recommend it enough. And now I'm reading other Julie Murphy books because of it. Question 11, longest book you read this year. I feel like it's Sarah J Maas with Crescent City. I'm using this book for 2 prompts, so I do apologize. By literally a whopping 220 pages. The longest novel that I did pick up was House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J Maas, coming in at 835 pages. So she a big boy. And then the next question is the shortest book you read this year. It was an ebook, one I read just last month, and it is All by My Elf by Olivia Dade, coming in at 55 pages. So that was the shortest book that I read this year. And then we go into question 13, favorite cover of the year. At this point, there's 99 books that I've read and I have to pick only one. So my favorite book cover of this year is The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore. What sold it for me is that gold reflection that you guys can see on the leaves. I think it's stunning. And yeah, it's super cute. I love like the little cafe and, you know, the oranges, the reds, the pinks, the yellows, the golds. I think it's stunning. Looks great. 10 out of 10. And then question 14 is a book you haven't stopped thinking about. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I read this one back in January. It made me cry. It made me laugh. It made me smile. So this is by Taylor Jenkins Reid too, by the way. This book really stuck with me for a very long time. I think the concept is beautiful. It's well written. It's very unique and it really kind of makes you question life, humanity, what's actually important, what we care about, and how society views things. And it was a fantastic read and I would love to pick up more of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books in 2025. 15, cringiest book you read this year. Honestly, I'm going to go with another ebook and it's Merry Ever After by Tessa Bailey. As I said in my reading wrap up for November, I don't like Tessa Bailey very much as an author. I find her books very cringy. I don't like the way that she writes romance, love, sex scenes. This is like a Christmas novella. We have like a single mother tropes, you know, farmer. They meet, they're literally banging within 2 seconds. I just don't like the way that she writes men or her romances and I cringed the entire way through this book and I didn't enjoy it. Number 16, an unpopular book that you loved. I don't know if it's unpopular, but I do think it's potentially people's least favorite book in this series, so I'm just gonna go with it, and if I'm wrong, oh well. That is Things We Left Behind by Lucy Score. This is the 3rd and final book in the Knock 'Em Out series, and we focus on Lucien and Sloane. They were the 2 that I was most interested in learning more about. I think people were disappointed with this book because it was really kind of, I guess, built up and just didn't meet people's expectations, I believe, but I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was actually the best book in the series. I thought it went 3, 2, 1 in order. I think everyone does it the other order, but I had a great time with it. Thought it was fantastic. I have no complaints. I rated it 4.5 stars, but the other books were like 3.5, 4-star reads for me. Thought it was a great book. Question 17, what was the highest and lowest rated books you read this year on Goodreads? Do you agree? I don't do Goodreads, so I can't answer this question. Question 18 is favorite quotes of the year. I am not a quote girly, so I don't have one for you guys, so we're going to skip over that. Question 19, a book with the most unique concept. The book with the most unique concept that I'm going to go with is Belladonna by Adeline Grace. It also has Foxglove and Wisteria, which I've read all 3 books this year. We just focus on a main character who can see death and actually starts to form a relationship with death. And I thought that was a really weird, unique concept. And I really just thought it was great. We also have characters who are being poisoned by family members. It was just a great time, and I think I've not really read anything with sort of this plot, and I thought it was great. And poor Cigna, every family member has always passed away who her guardians were, and yeah, she ends up with this new family where the wife's just died of a mysterious illness. Turns out she was murdered, and then the daughter is also going through the same thing, and she helps solve the mystery. And then there's a whole real interesting kind of conversation around fate, life, and death. It was good. Question 20, a book you read that you would reread. Well, I mean, I've gotten this far through this challenge and I haven't pulled out the Ali Hazelwood novel yet, so I'm going with Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood because I want to do a reread of all of Ali Hazelwood novels. So we focus on Rue and Eli. This is probably her smuttiest book. The way that the relationship is formed is different to every sort of other novel about hers. This one is like romance second, smut first. But yeah, these two kind of characters, Eli ends up taking over the business that Rue is working for. They buy out the loan, so they're the owners of it, and she really hates him from like first sighting because of it. But they've already sort of been on a little bit of a date, have a little bit of a relationship forming, and she doesn't really know how to deal with the fact that he's taking over her friend's business, and she thinks he's this evil, horrible person, but obviously he's not actually like that, and she really kind of struggles to kind of put those two concepts together. But I would reread it. I would reread any Ali Hazelwood novel, honestly. Question 21, reading goal reflection, and then 2025 reading goal. I mean, I had several reading goals for this year. So I had read 60 books, smashed it. I'm currently reading book 100. Read my 24 books to read in 2024. I've done that. There was book series that I wanted to read in 2024. I've done that. Read 4 days a week. I'm pretty sure I'm doing well and on track with that. Wanted to get my TBR to under 100 books. We're currently sitting around 80-ish, so smash that. Only purchased 36 books. I'm currently sitting at 35. There's only one more I'm allowed to buy. And then I wanted to complete my Taylor Swift reading challenge, which I've done, and then also the Speak Now Taylor's version reading challenge, which I literally have one more to complete. So I think I've had a very successful reading year. I will say that I don't want to read 90 to 100 books next year. I feel like at times I was pushing myself to get through my TBR, to get through the books so that I could meet these challenges that I had. And it sometimes made reading a little bit unenjoyable. And I want to make sure, and then this is question 2022, what are you prioritizing reading wise in 2025? I want to make sure in 2025 that I just take the time with the books. And if a book takes me 6 days to read, it takes me 6 days to read, and that's okay. I was very much trying to get books read within 3 days just so that I could read 9 or so books a month. And if that happens naturally and organically, I'm stoked with that and I'm happy with it. But there were definitely times where I was like making myself read and I really just needed a break. The fact that I haven't gone into a reading slump is impressive, but I definitely in 2025 want to just prioritize reading when I want to read and enjoying reading and not forcing myself to have to read all of these books. So I guess I just want to prioritize having healthy reading goals in 2025. I still want to set goals that challenge myself, but I still want to make sure that I'm kind to myself and I'm not making unrealistic expectations for myself in 2025 in regards to how much I am reading, and want to make sure that these books stick with me and they last. Because sometimes I would get to my reading wrap up and I'd be like, I don't remember a single thing that happened in this book. So that's what I want to prioritize in 2025. But they are the 22 questions that I have answered in this book tag. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I don't know when this video is going up, so depending on whereabouts this lands, I hope you guys have a very wonderful and Merry Christmas. Stay safe this holiday season, and I will see you guys next week for another video. Bye!